beautifuls, this is Aromie here, and welcome back to Seduce Me, the visual novel. We are finally on our very last guy, James. So, we are going to hope to obtain that super happy ending, which we finally got on Eric. But I am going to play back on all the previous three guys to get their happy endings, so you guys won't be all upset. Because, yeah, I would be upset if someone played all the rounds and not get the happy endings. So, of course, I will do the happy endings for you guys. Hopefully I remember all the choices, because you gotta go all the way back for this. Naomi.
Man.
I'm always sticking up for Naomi. Try again. Ask for an apology. These choices don't really matter. Just be calm. Oh, no. Be calm. I saw half and half. I didn't correctly look at the thing.
But it looks so creepy.
Sure. And we do want to get to know James.
That explains the luggage you brought.
Be cool.
That is a generous...
Oh, what?
This is the part where I kind of have to read, because when they're eating, I kind of have to, like...
I think that...
Yes! Also,
Okay.
Eric.
So what are we waiting for?
This part.
Let's celebrate and dig in.
Finally, I'm starving.
Really, you two?
Oh, let them have a little freedom, James.
Still, that's no excuse for stuffing their faces like backyard swine.
There. Gotta make sure we got all those hearts. Then, father calls, and blah blah blah.
Then why did...
They're questioning me. Stay and help around the house.
Are you sure?
I am positive, and I am going to go with James. James, correct? Yeah, James. Oh shoot, that was really loud. That was Tyler's computer. James and I headed out to the garden. It had been years since I'd been in the small field. The gazebo was smaller than I remembered, but I had grown since I had last seen it. James rolled up his sleeves and took in a breath of air before sighing contently.
So, we need to cater to the plants and make sure there are no muddy spots in the grass. It may take a while. Are you sure you wish to help me and not the others?
I shook my head, rolling up my sleeves as well. I can handle it. I'd rather work outside anyway. James nodded with a smile before handing me a watering can, gesturing to a group of flowers by the side of the yard. I walked over and began to water the flowers. However, as silence took control of the air, I felt the need to start a conversation. I asked him a question. So, do you like flowers? I wanted to smack myself. That was a very terrible conversation starter. Hey, it's better than, so how's the weather? That's a pretty bad conversation starter. Tyler would always start with that, like when we weren't really dating at the time. We were like kind of like cutting each other's throat and stuff. But he would always try to start a conversation with me, like, so how's the weather? Like, Tyler, come on. I mentally smacked myself before hearing James chuckle softly. I turned to look at him as he nodded.
They have a wonderful aesthetic. Many people would think that flowers are simple and rather boring, but I've learned secrets about flowers.
Oh. You learned secrets about flowers. Secrets? About flowers? What, like a special way to water them or something?
You could say that. There are right and wrong ways to water flowers.
Yeah, you can overwater and you can underwater. Can you show me? James gave a small smirk before walking over and standing behind me. I instantly blushed as he brought his arm underneath mine, guiding my watering can. The water gently poured over the dirt, sinking into it and dissolving into the roots. It's like, oh, you want to learn how to play baseball? Let me stand beside you, behind you, and you swing like that. Yeah. However, my concentration on the water was broken by the sound of James' voice in me. Oh my god.
Flowers need to be cared for gently, like a fragile life.
Oh my god.
Too much power and they'll break, but too little and they'll wither and fade away. It's like caring for a pet or a loved one.
A loved one? For some reason, those three words echoed in my head. James continued to guide my watering can, using gentle hands to lead my arms and my body. It was almost like a dance. Eventually, he let go and stepped away from me. I turned to him as he simply smiled at me before returning to his work. I felt my face with my hand, feeling the extreme warmth before shaking my head and continuing to water the remaining plants. This as ready as I've ever been. I'm doing my best.
I'm so sorry about your...
Thank you for
Do you have
condolences. Yes, I do.
What do you think of the...
Do you think the company...
You gotta pick like the most. Let's try and his. Let's be nice.
You're welcome.
Follow him. We're just gonna follow him. It won't hurt us. His laugh, man, it always freaks me out. We're gonna explore the house, cause then we get to find this little room here. Cause then we learn about the stuff. So we should always like go check it out. We're gonna disturb them, cause why the hell not? Skip. What would James like? Chicken and rice. He seems like that type of guy. Find one of the incubies. And we found James. I found James in a library, sitting in one of the comfy leather seats, reading a book. As I stepped in, James looked up at me before closing the book and standing.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Hey, James. I got some lunch for you.
That is very kind of you. Thank you.
Seems like I'm talking to like a senpai. Like, never will be noticed. James took his food and sat back down, placing the books he was reading on the table in front of him, setting the dish on his lap.
I'm sorry. I should have asked you first before exploring the house and finding this room.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm so rude texting Tyler, but he's at work, so it's all like I'm always scared that he might need something. It's okay, James. I mean, I did ask you guys to like hang out around the house, so. Huh? Oh no, you're fine. Remember, you live here too, so any room besides mine is free to be in. Besides mine.
Still, you're the master of the house. I should have asked.
Ew, so I don't. Master of the house doesn't sound as enchanting. It's fine, really. James nodded at me with an understanding smile before eating his food. I followed along and ate with him, taking the open chair beside his. We ate in silence, listening to the ambiance in the room. Soon, however, I began to feel a little restless. Check out the book. I put my food down on the table and lifted the book to examine it. Love and Romance, a study of intimacy? What the hell are you reading, James? James let out a small, nervous cough before he stopped eating and placed his food on the table.
Demons and humans are very different when it comes to affairs of the heart. I merely wanted to try learning a little more while I had the chance. I found that while I was looking around the room and had only just begun reading.
Uh-huh. Love is different to demons? How so? James smiled before crossing his leg, getting comfy for the small lecture he was about to give.
Love isn't just a human emotion, miss. Demons like us feel them too. In fact, incubi and succubi feel emotions the most because of our link to sexual energy. However, we don't really experience love. We know of lust and passion.
But you don't know love. But passion drives love.
For humans, yes. For demons, it fuels our need to breed and increase the strength of our lineage as well as quells the hunger we have for sexual energy. It's very hard for us to develop feelings from passion, despite how easy it may logically seem.
Do you hunger for energy? It, I could tell I struck a nerve with James. As I mentioned the word hunger, his arm twitched, obviously wanting to do something other than remain on the armrest of his chair. He continued speaking regardless.
Sexual energy is our natural food source and is one of two ways to keep us alive. In the abyssal planes, there are many demons to feed off of who are always willing to give their energy up, so sexual hunger is never an issue.
So, demons eating demons, cannibalism.
In the human world, however, we've come to realize that getting energy is a little more difficult.
Well, of course, we're not little hookers running around like, here, have my body. No. Can't you just touch a human for the energy like you all did with me?
That only gives us so much. A touch is merely a taste, while intimate sex is a banquet for us.
Oh god, that word. It just makes me feel awkward. I guess that was true. Humans weren't all about sex, and we're probably a lot more conservative than demons, at least. It would be hard to gain sexual energy from a human without doing something to them or catching them in the right mood.
This is why we have a mind-altering ability to convince humans to give in to their desires. It's not 100% effective, but it gives us a better possibility to get what we need.
Sounds like friggin' Pokemon. Not 100% effective. Gotta throw that Pokeball back out there, guys. What if you don't feed on sexual energy? What's the other way to stay alive?
Food, typically. However, we're weak without actual sexual energy. Without sexual energy, we become less than human. We have no power nor moral consciousness. We basically start to become unfriendly.
Oh. We're learning more about freaking Incubus and Succubus through James than out of all the other guys. Are you hungry now? I see. Damn. Are you hungry now? Oh, I chose the right one, the heart. James didn't reply. He simply stared at me, unable to answer. However, I could tell that he was. He was clutching the armrest tightly, digging his fingers into the leather. Hey, don't ruin the leather. I gently leaned close to him from my chair and reached to brush my fingers over his hand. Damn, I'm basically playing a demon right now. If you really need energy, I'll help a little. No sex, but enough to stop the hunger, okay? Once again, I was greeted with silence from James. He seemed very nervous and uncertain about what to do. Now that the approval was there, he was also frozen from my touch, softly and barely twitching at the feel of my skin against his. I could feel his hand grip the armrest harder. A small feeling of boldness then ran through my body, forcing me to cover his hand completely with my own, before leaning nose to nose with James in seriousness. Alter my mind if you're concerned about me. I really do want to help you out. All of a sudden, I felt something in my mind snap and ooze into the warm, fluffy feeling I felt before with Sam and Eric. I felt my body slightly heat up as James released the armrest and gently took my wrist. He gently pulled me out of my chair and onto his lap, having me straddle him with my thighs. He stared deep into my eyes, his own glowing in hunger that I never would have expected to see from him.
I won't go overboard.
Before I knew it, his lips were pressed hard against mine, my head being pulled to his by his hand while on the back of my neck. Wait, what? My head being pulled to his by his hand on the back of my neck. Okay. I gently moved my hands to his shoulders and chest, melting in his lap and enjoying every feeling that ran through my body. I felt hot, desperate, and in need for more than just his kiss. Of course, he's a sexual demon. One of my hands slid up his neck, into his hair as James lowered his kisses to my neck, gently grunting against my skin. I couldn't help but let out a small whimper of pleasure before reaching up and covering my mouth. I didn't want the others to hear me, and I was positive neither did James. James lowered his free hand to my lower back, pulling my body against his. I felt my energy slowly draining, causing me to cuddle closer to James. Hold on me. He lowered his hand to my waist, squeezing it tightly as his tongue ravished my neck. His hand that was on my back of my neck, however, gently came around and held onto a tail of my bow. I sucked in a breath, but James didn't pull it to untie the bow. That's a first. James lifted his slip from my neck and gently leaned his forehead to mine, rubbing nose to nose with me. He was gently breathing fast, softly red in the face, and as deep into the moment as I was.
I won't go any further if you don't want me to.
I could feel the hold of his mind-altering spell fade away, but I still felt hot. Something told me that I wanted more, but at the same time, I wasn't sure if I truly did want to give anymore. Okay. Yeah. It's basically the same thing, right? Yeah, it's basically the same reading. Okay. Before I turned to get out of the bed, though, I spotted my ribbon on the pillow, beside the one I slept on. It was tied in a nice bow around a red rose. Oh, that's really pretty. I love roses. But I think, peonies are my most favorite flowers. That was freshly bloomed with a small note attached to it. I gently slipped the note from the tie and opened it to read it.
I apologize for indulging myself as I did. I hope that you will not dislike me when you awaken.
Excuse me, that was so nasty. I hope you guys did not hear me burp inside of my mouth. I was trying to hold it back. So sorry. I stared at the note, unbelieving what I read. Why would I dislike him? I let it happen and I enjoyed it. It was cute, though, to imagine him asking for forgiveness for something we both did and enjoyed. I brought the rose to my nose and gently inhaled its soft fragrance. And skippity skip. Before I could reach the handle of the door, however, someone took my hand. Huh? I turned to see James, who was holding my hand back with a concerned frown on his face.
My name.
Your name?
My true name isn't James, miss. I want you to know my real name if something were to happen.
What? Can you stop calling me miss? It makes me feel old. His true name? What did he mean? Why was he telling me this now? I remembered reading about a demon's name from the journal I read yesterday. If you knew a demon's true name, you could summon them to you, no matter where you were, or where they were. James gently pulled me to him and leaned close to whisper in my ear.
My name is Raestro.
Raestro? That's a bit easier to remember. Cool, I got it. James pulled away and smiled at me, despite still carrying worry in his eyes.
If you are in any danger, call my name. I promise that I'll come and help you.
His voice is so mellow, like, you can listen to it forever. Like, he can read me a 500-page book. I will not get tired of his voice. I stared up at James, unable to say anything. I could only nod in response. James smiled before kissing my hand and heading into the dining room. Something told me that name would be used eventually. Glare into her soul. And that's when we saw Diana. And then I screamed Raestro. All of a sudden, a bright purple light engulfed the room, causing the devils around me, including Iris and Malix, to cover themselves.
What the?
Gusts of wind rushed past me, almost forcing me back. I covered my face with my arms, bracing myself and standing my ground. I tried to peek through my arms to see what was going on, but the light continued to shine brightly. As the gust slowly started to die, the light began to fade, revealing James pointing a strange golden gun behind Malix's head. Wow.
It's alright now. I'm here.
Oh my god, his voice, it's just so calming. Like, if you're panicking, you can just stop. Just stop and you're just calm. Malix stared wide-eyed behind him, unsure of what to do. He had no time to react in case James pulled the trigger. He was stuck, feeling the presence of James' golden gun that was ready to lodge a bullet into his skull.
Well, it seems like I finally have your cooperation, Malix. It took long enough.
Such a badass, too.
You piece of demon shit! I could shoot you right now.
And what's stopping me from shooting you first? If you so much as flinch, I will pull this trigger and end you once and for all.
The remaining devils stared, trying to figure out what to do. Help Malix or watch into silence. Iris, however, walked up beside me and crossed her arms, as she watched with an amused smirk on her face. Malix growled, obviously annoyed at the predicament he was in.
What is stopping you, pretty boy?
Just me wanting to do this.
With no hesitation, James quickly moved his gun and shot both of Malix's hands. Malix's gun dropped from Malix's shot hand onto the ground as Malix knelt over in pain, holding his hands to his chest.
You son of a bitch!
Before Malix could finish the sentence, James aimed the gun once again at Malix's head, causing the devil to stop talking once again.
I didn't say you could speak. Do you want me to shoot you in the throat?
I shot him in the face and he's still alive, what the hell? I stared at James in shock. Was he playing with Malix? He seemed to act like a cat poking a sharp nail at a wounded rat. It was warranted, but not what I expected of James at all.
Now, I'm going to give you 3 seconds to get on your knees to beg for forgiveness. Or, the next bullet goes through your pathetic hellborn skull.
Malix hesitated, but eventually ended up on his knees. However, as he settled onto the ground, Malix wrapped his arms around James' leg and dug his teeth into it. I gasped but remained still as I watched James aim and fire a shot into Malix's back. Malix released James' leg in shock, trembling at the newfound pain. However, for some reason, Malix didn't fall over and die. He remained still, staring ahead of himself in pure shock and pain. I could only watch in silence as James lifted his leg out of Malix's embrace and kicked Malix to his side.
Disobedient until the very end, huh?
The air instantly went from frantic to still in energy. What could have been described in tone as color red quickly turned into a deadly mix of purple and gold, as everything began to blend together all at once. I stared as James seemed to grow more menacing towards Malix. However, he quickly looked at me with a face of concern.
Please, forgive me for this.
Oh, boo-boo, I will forgive you for anything because your voice is so calming. I grew confused but wasn't allowed to think on it as James looked back down at Malix once again. James' eyes began to glow bright gold as James lifted Malix by his collar and pulled him up and off the ground.
It's high time you discovered the true power of demons.
James' voice had changed, sending a large shiver down my spine. His appearance also started to change, but before I could see clearly what James was becoming, my eyes were covered.
It's me. Don't look.
Damien! Oh my god. Damien has my heart forever. I listened carefully and let the last 2 words linger in my mind. Don't look. Why? What was being hidden from me? I wanted to know, but something told me to obey Damien's command. I could hear Malix struggling to get out of James' grasp and the rich, bright sound of magic being casted. I struggled with myself to obey Damien's words, locking my arms to my sides to deny myself the chance to pull Damien's hands off from my face.
Let me go!
Guess what, Malix? You're not gonna be let go.
As you wish.
The sounds of demonic screams and cries bellowed all of a sudden, causing me to tense up in Damien's hands. Malix began to scream in agony, straining as if he was being pulled somewhere against his will. Malix's voice began to trail out into an echoey whisper as the magic sounds in the air consumed his cries. Soon enough, the cries and wisps of magic stopped, leaving the air as silent as it could be. However, Damien didn't remove his hands.
Jeez, James. Haven't seen you use that trick since the intruder in Demon Castle. But you're losing your touch. You even lost your glamour spell.
It couldn't have been helped.
Glamour spell. What did he mean? Why did James sound so different? Why was this being hidden from me?
It's a spell that makes us look human.
I froze. Look human. They didn't look like humans after all. What did they look like?
Like demons.
As if Matthew knew what Damien was talking about, Matthew spoke up, followed by the sound of a cork popping out of a bottle.
Well, not for much longer. Here.
Thank you, Matthew.
I could hear the small clinking of a glass being passed before I hearing James guzzle down a liquid of some sort. The stiff feel of the air around me gently began to warm back up, insinuating that everything had been returned to normal. Finally, Damien moved his hand from my eyes, allowing me to see around me once again. The devils, including Iris, had fled. Malix was nowhere to be found. The boys, however, had gathered around me, all of them, including James, looking like nothing had happened. What just... I tried to speak, but everything slipped around in my head at the whole event, that I felt like speaking wasn't possible.
Let's just get you home, miss. There's nothing more to see here.
Okay. I could only nod. What had happened boggled my mind to the point of disbelief. I was second-guessing everything, lost in a sea of what, and how, and when. As we walked out of the warehouse, I looked to James for some form of sign that I wasn't dreaming. James kept his eyes forward, unable to look at me. And this is where I am hoping James would tell me to stay, like they want to stay. I looked to James, feeling my heart flutter in my chest. I didn't want him to leave, but would he ask to stay? I hoped that he would say no and ask me to stay longer. As if he knew what I wanted, James moved and stepped to me, taking my hand and bringing it to his lips for a kiss. He moved it away, smiled to me, and spoke. Wow, you have some balls to do that in front of all these other guys.
Miss, if I may be so forward. Despite the short time we've stayed here, I've thoroughly enjoyed my time here. That being said, would you allow us to stay here?
Of course. My heart skipped while a large red blush ran across my cheeks. The boy stared at James wide-eyed, but didn't dare to speak out. James stepped back and gave me space, returning to where he was. Let them stay. I watched a very happy smile grow onto James' lips. It shared my excitement, knowing that we would be together longer. Who knew how long we would stay together? All I cared about was that I would be with him. The others quickly left to finally rest, leaving me and James alone at last. My heart fluttered a bit as James walked closer to me, gently wrapping his arms around my form. I placed my hands onto his shoulder, leaning close.
You are an absolutely wonderful woman. I'm so happy that you let us stay here.
Oh my god, your voice! Your voice, James! Oh my gosh. So calming, I cannot stop. I'm happy too, James. I stared up into his eyes, getting lost in them. I didn't know if it was the tiredness or my growing attachment to him, but I felt myself leaning into Jim's body. It invited me to stay a while, making me forget that my bed was also calling for me.
Listen, about what happened at the warehouse.
Shh. Shh. Just shh. No, it's fine. You did what you had to do. I understand. I had accepted everything while in James' warmth. He was real, and he was someone I didn't want to be without, even if that meant nodding against my curiosity. Besides, I was too tired to explore that memory further. James nodded before kissing my forehead sweetly.
Come, let's get you to bed.
Bed sounds good. I nodded before James gently lifted me up into his arms like a bride and carried me to my room. I didn't want to leave his arms, leaning my head against James' chest, but eventually I was slowly lowered to my bed and covered with my bed covers. I was still in my high school clothes. Oh, not high school, in my school clothes, but I was too tired to stripper care. Oh my gosh, stripper care. I looked at James, fighting a yawn from escaping me as he gently ran a hand over my hair.
Have sweet dreams. I'll prepare breakfast again for you in the morning.
Oh. Sorry, text. I nodded with a tired smile before watching him slowly stand and leave my room, closing the door. A wave of happiness washed over me as I laid in bed. I made a good choice. Sure, it would be hard, but I could tell that I would be able to manage it. Help around the house and being with the man whom I was slowly starting to fall for would be worth it. Ah, Diana, man. We're gonna tell him straight up, it's Diana. Oh, hell no. Oh, I felt my heart flutter, especially when my eyes landed on James. He kept close to me, glaring daggers into Diana. I could feel that he was completely adamant in his choice to stay. I don't know what, but I was incredibly happy to know he wanted to stay. James walked over to me and gently caressed my cheek, looking at me with a comforting smile.
There's no need to worry. I promise she won't hurt you.
And this is where we're gonna stop. I'm gonna pre-record. As you guys can see, it's May 29th for this recording, but it might be uploaded sometime in June. So I hope you guys have enjoyed today's episode. Like I said, since I played most of everybody so far, I'm still really attached to Damien. His voice and everything has taken my heart. No one can replace him right now. But I'm playing these because I'm pretty sure you guys also want me to play other routes. So we have James left, and once we get his happy ending, I'm gonna recap the other 3 guys that I did not get super happy endings on. So I hope you guys have enjoyed today's episode. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys next time.